Wow.
Oh, yeah. You know it. It's December.
I cannot believe, it's December. And I cannot believe I haven't complimented you on how well those two things mix together.
Oh, it's such a
You got the snappy thing going, and then the bow, bow, bow. Like you're
wow. After 78 episodes, I'm glad you noticed. No, I'm kidding. But it is episode 78.
Wow. And movies 98 and 99.
That's crazy.
We're gonna hit 100 movies next week.
That's absolutely insane. That is, and yeah, and it's holiday movies now officially, because it is now officially December, and being the first Monday in December, it's officially a double feature.
Yeah, so this is just holy crap.
There's a lot happening. It's coming. This month is gonna just zip by as we watch holiday movies, and we invite you to join us, because honestly, I mean, the movies we're watching, especially tonight, are I think on a lot of people's like must-watch yearly movies, or maybe must avoid yearly movies. I don't know. We'll find out. But you can join us at EriDanLive.com, and you can tell us what you think.
And by the way, that domain was renewed today. It was coming up for renewal.
Oh,
it was almost time.
Thank goodness.
I know. And I decided, you know what? Let's go ahead and renew it.
Someone in France might have jumped in and stolen that from us.
I know. So and then I actually renewed it. I renewed it for 3 more years. So
ooh, that's commitment. So that's up to at least episode 229.
It should be more than that. Well, I mean, that's going to be 2025.
Wow. It's going to be here like that if you wait. And so tonight we're going to talk about It's a Wonderful Life. We're going to talk about Home Alone. We're going to talk to you. We're going to pick another holiday movie for next week. You know how this works. There's just so much to do. We've got work to do, but we can't do that without you. So join us as we bring in some people. Yeah, Cody is here. He's all dressed for, I don't know, rugby?
The Steelers podcast I just recorded, maybe. Maybe.
I heard there was a game yesterday.
And they won, finally.
By 1 point.
Because the other team did the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
And here's the thing, that they got kahunas for that. I'll give them that.
Yeah, they went for the win instead of the tie, but still.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But that's
all right. But enough, and the Seahawks won. So 2 of my 3 S teams pulled out a win this year.
This week. Wait, your S teams? Who's the other S team?
Saints.
Ah, fair.
I used to live in New Orleans.
Fair enough.
Speaking of S teams,
Madam Librarian.
And Wade, you didn't press the button. There you go. And Wade has joined her at the last second. Yeah, just in time. Stacy and Wade are here. I thought it might have just been Stacy. Who knew?
We weren't sure. He was at church.
And Stacy responsible for one of our movies tonight.
Am I?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was it was
You picked A Wonderful Life.
Yeah, you chose It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh yeah, you picked it there. See?
Yeah. Did. Okay.
Yeah, that's all your fault. You know what else is your fault?
To infinity and beyond.
That was a good transition.
Really great.
It's not really wrong.
and it's his fault.
It's a team effort.
I think it was my fault.
It's a team effort. You know how it goes. You gotta know.
And Reagan's like, la, 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 la.
Speaking of team efforts, Dave's not here. Sorry.
He's not here?
Is Dave here?
Not at the moment.
Dave here? Dave there?
I don't see him. Yeah,
there's no Dave. Dave, where are you, Dave?
Oh, Dave, Dan, you were right. Not my mic. There we go. There's my microphone. Okay, now we're really ready. Now we're cooking. Yes. But we still want other people to join, so please, we would really.
Give me a minute.
Dave says, "Give me a minute."
You got a minute coming.
Dave's listening to us, so we'll give him a minute.
He's finishing up his. Finish up his Steelers podcast.
So programming note.
Rival.
Programming note. We will invite anybody who asks for the magical link to join us next Sunday for a watch along for our 100th movie. So prepare for that, whatever that turns out to be. That's coming soon. So while we wait for Dave, anybody have a preference? What movie we're going to talk about first?
Adam doesn't care. He's on the road.
He's on the road. I'm glad he's on the road. He's not just sitting on the road.
Well, we started at 5. I mean, he's finishing his workday, so.
True.
Well, let's go chronologic. No, let's not go chronologically. Let's go to the reverse. Let's go alphabetically and start with Home Alone, 1990. Well, when Kevin's family left for vacation, they forgot one minor detail. Kevin, starring Macaulay Culkin, Joe Pesci, Daniel Stern, John Hurd, Robert Blossom, and Catherine O'Hara in this Chris Columbus directed classic written by John Hughes. $15 million budget, did $477 million at the box office. Rotten Tomatoes, the 66 from the critics and an 80 from the audience.
Wow.
So, and I believe this is Adam's choice, who is on the road. Adam brought us this movie.
What's interesting with this movie is that the kid's name is Kevin, and then Eric named one of his children after this movie.
I did. No.
Is that true? Is that how you got Kevin?
That is not true. The real story is much worse.
Oh, no.
Kevin McCarthy? No. Who? Oh. Kevin Cleary? Who? Come on. Who'd you name Kevin after?
You don't know?
Oh, maybe I don't know
this story. I know I've told somebody this.
I don't know this story.
It's a bad story.
I know you're originally gonna name your kid Harrison.
Love
Ford.
Sure.
That is correct. But that takes us way off topic, though. So tell you what, stay around to the end of the show, and I'll tell you who might.
So did you notice that our other movie was on this movie when they were in the Paris airport?
Yes.
Yeah.
Twice, actually. They show another little clip of it.
Oh, did they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then there's a fake movie that he's watching also.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, the other one was Miracle on 34th Street at the very beginning of the movie.
Yes.
When he was in the kitchen.
Yep.
How about that? All right, we got to bring in Dave.
I'm sorry, Dave. This conversation can serve no purpose anymore.
And there's Dave. Clarence.
It's been a hectic afternoon, and I had the final 10 minutes to rewatch of Home Alone. So I had watched most of it during the day, but I had to pause it to run around and do some errands. So yeah.
Oh, you're like me. You watch movies in parts.
This time I did. This time I watched 90% of it, and then just watched the last 10 minutes a couple hours later.
How could you not knowing how it was ending? How did you get through the day? You must have been worried all day long.
Well, I would say we should just kind of go around the horn, talk about the movie. Anybody in the comments who wants to talk about can post whatever they want. And then if you just want to be we have 6 blocks. We've got 4 blocks available.
That's a lot.
We could have 10 people on.
Do it.
Just
Mom.
go to EriDanLive.com and you too could be a blockhead.
True. Very true.
We have 6 blocks, but 7 people. So,
Reagan, did you hear Dan say we'll just go around the horn?
No.
why is that a thing?
Isn't that something that has to do with exploration and the explorers that we learned about?
Who went around the horn?
No, Mom.
I always hear that like on ESPN or on basketball. We did that.
Never mind, honey.
All right.
So, I'm assuming. Do we have anybody who's never seen Home Alone before? It's definitely a possibility. I mean, it was only 21 years ago.
Well, as we know,
years ago.
You're right. So,
yeah. Oh my God, 31 years.
oh my goodness.
Yeah, Macaulay Culkin's like our age. As you know, not really. Whenever you talk out loud, your internet hears you and you start seeing things. So yesterday I got a thing on Twitter that said the number 1 and 2 movie, Christmas movies of all time, Home Alone and It's a Wonderful Life.
Wow.
Wonderful Life being number 1 and Home Alone.
In that order.
Oh, dang
The Home Alone was number 2.
Well, Home Alone is Number 2 in Home Alone comes along. Honestly, this movie does not work anymore. I'm not a slapstick guy, and I do like the actors. Well, some of the actors that are in it, but wow, does this not work? I don't know. To me, this was just a lot of head scratching and like, wow.
They tried to cover every plot hole. Because as I'm watching, I'm going, how do you forget a kid? I'm like, oh yeah, I remember. They count the neighbor kid because he's in there looking through. So that's how they got the numbers right. And then they did an odd number. So it's 8 and 9. So no matter which van you're in, there's 8 people. There must be 9 in the other one. Mm-hmm. So that's okay. And then I was like, what about his plane? Like they get to the airport, they're going through plane tickets. Why did nobody notice? I had to go back and I had to Google to find out why. His dad, when they threw away the stuff, somehow his plane ticket fell.
Yeah. I saw that for the first time.
One plane ticket fell in the garbage, and it was
when they spilt the milk or whatever.
Yes. Yep. So even if none of the other stuff happened, he would have been stuck at the airport because he didn't have a plane ticket. That would have been then it would have been the terminal.
Then it would have been
a movie we already watched. Could you imagine if they crossed those 2 movies over and they met each other in the terminal?
Or Kevin was stuck in the terminal for a year.
Oh my gosh.
And he ended up dating.
Nope, that's too far.
Zeta-Jones.
Jones. All right, I was gonna go with the janitor.
The janitor.
You've gone too far, Dan. Now you've gone too far.
My mom never knew that before.
Well, there you go.
And she loves her Christmas movies.
I do have. There's a lot of freaky facts for this. We don't have to get into that yet. But doing a little research, I can't believe they made a second one.
Yeah.
Let alone a third one, let alone a TV series or whatever the new one is, or a new version.
And the weird thing is, John Hughes wrote the script for 1, 2, and 3, and wrote the story that the new one was based on.
Yeah.
Like the new one, like the newest one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's spinning.
And where's child services throughout all this? That's the real question.
Well, you saw how incompetent that police department was. Come on.
Yeah.
They said Hyper on 2. She goes, okay, whatever.
Yeah, and she like knocks on the
I was
window.
like, this is your job. Like,
And then the fake Kramer answers the phone, or the ugly guy from the guy that lived upstairs at Friends, that actor.
Human. Oh, that guy. Thank you. That's who that was.
Yeah, he was a child services guy.
That's right.
Has anybody been inappropriately touched?
So stupid. I was so mad.
Yeah. The movie's got a lot of stupidity to it.
and they never call home. They never call their house.
No, the phone lines
they
were
tried
down.
it first,
Okay,
but
you're
they
right.
never tried again because we know the phone was working because he calls the police on that last day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So much foreshadowing in this movie where it's like, well, I don't know how long it's going to take before they can turn the phones back on.
Yeah.
Just every little thing where it's like, okay, yeah.
Well, it's basically a kid's movie.
Yeah.
I mean, and so if you, yeah.
Oh,
Adam just nailed it.
But, I'll suspend disbelief for heck, for reality, I'm all right with suspending disbelief. It doesn't have to be a movie. But I just don't enjoy. I don't enjoy a lot of slapstick. It's just not my. That's not my thing.
I'm just trying to figure out what made this movie.
Movie is not that it's unrealistic, but I do. Movies with kids as lead actors, right? And again, you're right, Dave. It is more of a kids movie.
It really is. It's a kids movie that adults seem to enjoy, but it is a kids movie. It's a kid's fantasy, is what it is.
In the 30 years it's been out, all those kids are now the adults. And
exactly.
I mean, that's why it just keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
It won't stop.
See, I thought Elf was a kid's fantasy.
Oh, that was so.
Eating that spaghetti. Oh.
No,
I
Elf.
watched Elf for the first time the other day, and
Elf is an acid trip.
I was not impressed with it. I would never watch it again. It was weird and boring and lame. I could not.
Wow.
You didn't like the spider.
I never will watch it again. Ugh, next cat.
Wow.
That would have been Reagan if there was a spider crawling on my chest. That would have been Reagan with the crowbar.
Right, dude, I would have killed you. I would have whacked you.
No, she was a dad. Kill it.
Yeah, you're right.
Because she does not.
No, but I hit the panic button whenever it comes to spiders. So I would have said that, but then I would have hit him. Like it would.
I hope one day there's a spider on your surfboard when you're surfing.
That's just harsh.
It'd be funny to watch.
You would just roll over and then they're
Funny to watch.
But a tarantula, not just a spider, a tarantula.
And you have to
Oh.
Marv
Like
Marv is one of the stupidest people you will ever see on screen. He could have been in Dumb and Dumber, and he might have outdumbed them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could go political, but I won't. But yeah, he definitely, Daniel Stern did a great job.
Harry's not too bright, but Marv is just, there's nobody upstairs.
Yeah.
The Wet Bandits.
Yeah, we're gonna be the Wet Bandits.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently there was a whole like a news reel that you get to hear at one point, or they're playing the news is on, and you hear, and they're still trying to find the Wet Bandits, like they were like known.
A cut scene, yeah.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
deleted scene that was more exposition than you possibly could need.
The movie seems long enough.
Yeah.
It is kind of long, yeah.
Uncle Frank was certainly detestable, wasn't he?
Well, there
That
was this.
Go ahead.
Oh, you're gonna say what I'm? Go ahead, you can say it.
It was supposed to be Kelsey Grammer.
Yes.
Oh no,
Yeah.
that was.
He was originally going to be, yeah, it was written for Kelsey Grammer.
Yep.
Yep.
He
I don't know
was
who that
gonna-
is. So
He was going to be the head of the
Frasier.
Frasier?
Fraser. You never heard of
Oh,
Fraser?
really?
Hey, baby, I hear the blues are calling. Toss salads and scrambled eggs. He was going to be. Here come again. He was going to be the head of the. He was going to be in charge of the two dummy crooks.
Well,
The uncle was going to be the guy who set the whole thing up and
Oh.
got them out of the house.
snap!
And
It was an
gonna-
inside job.
It was an inside job.
I almost like that more.
Me
And
too.
the goal was to kill Kevin.
No.
It was that
Whoa,
dark. That
that's
was the
a lot
original
darker.
script. It was very dark in the
I
original
think I would have liked that. I'm sorry.
script. Eric's like, let's see that movie.
Yeah,
That's
seriously.
creepy.
Home Alone.
And Old Man Marley was in on it too.
Yeah, being the good guy.
Let's talk. Speaking of old man, so the guy next door sees him go into the neighbor's house, comes in after him, slams these two guys with shovels, and then agrees, yeah, you just go back home alone and let's just leave these guys lay here and let's the police figure it out.
No, he- they called the
Exactly.
cops. He's the
That
one
was
that
a
called the
big
cops.
plot hole.
No,
Kevin called the cops.
Called
that's
the
what I would have done.
Yeah, Kevin called the cops.
Did you see him call the cops?
Yes.
He calls
How did I
the
miss
cops
that?
He
because
called
he-
911.
Yeah, he goes.
Oh
"Hey,
yeah.
Yeah, more
and he says that he's the neighbor. Now you've got to really be paying attention and know what the neighbor's last name is, and that it's not he's not calling them to come to his house.
Yeah, because it's so subtle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they did. I mean, they made it a point to use their last name a couple
Yes.
times throughout the movie.
Yes, they did.
Absolutely. You know, but yeah, I thought it was but I thought, but it's like, okay, so here's the old guy who's kind of responsible and friendly and nice, and is going to go, okay, I saw you alone at church. I see you alone now breaking into somebody's house, and I'm just going to send you back home, and I'm going to go home too.
He said, "Let's take you home," but did you actually see him taking him home?
He was at home by himself on Christmas.
He didn't know
morning.
which home. Maybe maybe he's
Well,
like
but
the
the police had hauled off the crooks, so
could he be the
He's
guy?
safe now.
The guy.
he's safe. Yeah,
The whistle talker. On,
the wet bandits have been apprehended. He's fine.
I wonder how many children got hurt after that movie came out because they tried to zip line out of their.
Or
window.
tried to climb those shelves on the
I
wall.
would have done it.
Yeah.
I climbed the shelves.
I'm like, that's our life.
yeah.
I blame the brother for not attaching the shelves better.
Yeah, he's an
I
idiot.
doubt the brother installed the shelves.
IKEA
The dad wasn't too
those
bright
little
either,
pockets.
Dave.
People just don't use them.
Was IKEA around yet? I guess they were around already.
And
Yeah.
and Kieran Culkin was in it too.
Yes.
Yes,
Macaulay's little
Yeah,
brother.
he was the
What
little
was his
cousin.
name?
He was
He was the little kid at the dining room table saying, "It's not
Fuller.
my family," and he had several lines. Yeah.
He's like,
There's a
there's
separate
people.
in the comments.
Well, suddenly we're Discord.
We're just talking, hanging out. No, Cindy and Jenna are in the comments hanging out. That's awesome. I love that.
Now, since we are on a double feature time frame tonight,
Oh yes.
I should hit some freaky facts, and then
All
we
right.
should start rating.
Freaky facts.
Hit it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ooh, so freaky.
All right, there's a few of these in this movie. This one I thought was kind of fun. On the airplane, John Hurd, the dad, is seen reading a novel by Thomas McGuane. I think that's how you say his name. McGuane and John Hurd were both previously married to Margot Kidder. So
Why?
he's reading a novel
Did you just read
by
my
the guy-
mind, dude?
Did you know
is
that?
freaky.
Wow.
Speaking of mind reading,
Whoa!
it's dark, but he's there.
The beard in person.
I just got home.
Is your
Not
power
even
off?
I don't think
No,
I've
I'm in
ever
I'm
seen
in my
Adam in
car.
person.
I just got home.
Oh. Could you? Oh, there's.
I was gonna say, is the power out in your home?
No, I just pulled in the driveway like 2 seconds ago.
Oh,
Good to
Ma
see
Bell.
you.
It's going to take 3 or 4 days for Ma Bell to get the phones back on.
Special night.
I couldn't let you guys shit all over this movie.
I'm not going to.
It's going to be Shatnered a little bit. When Kate meets Gus Polinski, the polka king of the Midwest, they're in Scranton at the Scranton Airport. And according to the lyrics of the Pennsylvania Polka, which most of us know because the Steelers used the Pennsylvania Polka as their big fight song years ago, the Pennsylvania Polka started in Scranton. When Kevin when he turns on the TV in the kitchen, Miracle on 34th Street is playing. Writer and producer John Hughes co-wrote with George Seaton and produced Miracle on 34th Street of 1994.
Oh.
Now, this would have been a totally different movie. Christopher Lloyd turned down the role of Marv. And John Lovitz turned down the role of Harry Lime. Can you imagine if it was John Lovitz and Christopher Lloyd?
I can picture it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You are such
really
an
did.
idiot.
Well,
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Wow.
But the role was written with Daniel Stern in mind. So usually when that happens and they get the guy they want, it's usually a pretty good thing. But Michael Richards was also considered for the part. But both he and Christopher Lloyd were both busy at the time because I believe Christopher Lloyd was doing Back to the Future 2 and 3. And or at least it was being finished around then.
Wow.
And Michael Richards was doing Kramer at that point already. Here's a plot hole that is fixed. Oh, we already talked about that one. And finally, the kids in the main McAllister family, Buzz, Megan, Jeff, Linny, and Kevin, are all different ages, with Buzz being the eldest. Actually, in real life, all of them were the same age, being born in 1977, other than Kevin, who was born in 1980.
Dang.
That's funny.
The actual order: Buzz was born in January, Megan in February, Angela, who's Linny was born in May, and Michael, who was Jeff, was born in September.
Wow.
So they couldn't really be brothers and sisters biologically unless they were like quadruplets that were born very late apart. And those are the freaky facts for this particular movie.
That's a long labor session. Just saying.
Yes.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, Adam, what say you? After you finish your Red Bull.
No,
That's a rock star.
Oh, rock star. Whatever.
Wow.
It's all bull testicle
Not a
juice
sponsor.
or something. Not a sponsor. Isn't that what?
No,
Kara-
I mean yeah, the movie's kind of, I don't know how to put it. There's certain parts of the movie where you're like, really? Like you can't really believe that's going to happen. But at the same time, I mean, like I said, you just got to suspend disbelief. I mean, I like it. I mean, I grew up watching. This is another one of those movies where like I watched this when I was younger, not like when I was a kid, because I was. What year did it come out again?
1990.
Yeah, I was 13. So, but I mean,
you were Buzz.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, well, I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen the new one. Anyways,
just a teaser, but that's okay.
Well, the new one sucks. But anyway, that's the point.
So spoil away.
So
the new one's really, really, really bad. But no, I mean, I think that for what it was, I mean, the cast is really good. I mean, they got the casting really good. And I think Macaulay Culkin did a really good job as Kevin. So.
He did. And I love Catherine O'Hara. I love her and everything.
Yeah. Beetlejuice.
And she and John Candy go back to the SCTV days, and he did his parts all in one day, and he improvised all of his lines.
Really?
The whole thing about the funeral parlor, all of that was John Candy just improvising.
Uncle Buck, everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And he was also only paid $414.
Yeah, he was paid scale. Yeah.
For 24 hours.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy. All right, are we doing this?
Let's score this puppy.
The EriDan rating bot 6000. EriDan rating 6000. EriDan now activated.
All right,
All
Dad.
right. All right, I'll start bringing people around to do the big face. Well, we might as well start with Adam because he scored it.
Yeah, and
Or
he's
he's picked it,
and he's
The
here.
big-
and he's here in person, which is the first time in like 6 months, maybe
Well,
longer.
It's longer.
oh, yeah, it's been longer.
And I'll see
No,
you on
yeah.
Saturday or on Friday. I mean, at the show.
Yes, you will see me on Friday.
Front row.
Yeah.
We want pictures of this.
Mhm.
We have to capture that.
All right.
No, I mean, I think it's for a Christmas movie. I think it's it's a good Christmas movie, and it's funny. Yeah, like I said before, like there's parts of it where you're like, there's no way a kid would be able to really do that to grown people. But at the same time, like I said, you guys suspend disbelief. I mean, you just gotta go with it. And I don't know. I don't really, it's not a super long movie, and I just, I own the DVD. I watch it every year. I watch that and Christmas Vacation every year. So, I think it's probably I'd say it's my favorite Christmas movie, but Die Hard's my favorite Christmas movie. But then we won't get into that conversation. Because I just rewatched Die Hard last night, and I'm like, it's a Christmas movie, but we won't talk about that. But I mean, I can see why some people didn't like it, but like I said, this is one of those ones that I grew up watching, and so I'd give it a 95.
Wow.
Wow. That's
Super Troopers area there.
That's strong.
Pretty awesome.
All right. So speaking of Super Troopers, Dave.
Ooh. Well, like I said before, I was an adult when this movie came out. So it's not the same, I think, as someone who saw it as a kid. And I acknowledge that. I guarantee you, if I had seen this movie at 10 or 11, I would have loved it to death. And I did I used to rig strings around my bedroom so I could pull a string and it would open the wardrobe door and close the thing and and do things like that.
Turn the lights off.
Exactly. Around the light switch and around the curtain rods and all. Yeah, I used to do stuff. That's a kid's fantasy, that kind of stuff. It was you have the run of the place. You can eat what you want. You can watch anything you want. All of that. And that's what it was. This was a kid's fantasy movie that adults can still enjoy, but it's a kid's fantasy. And, and interesting, John Hughes also wrote Christmas Vacation, but it works even though I'm not really the target audience. But I know I would have loved it more if I had seen it when I was younger, but I still really enjoy it. And I think it succeeds at what it intends to do. And to be honest, also, the scene in the church is really very touching. It really is very well done. It's just the scene is, two actors, an old man and a young boy, doing a very nice scene together that's well written and well acted with the choir singing in the background. I mean, that's a really well handled scene that could have been very much handled for camp and wasn't. And was just a very nice, moving Christmas moment in the middle of the movie that worked very well, I felt. So, I'm not going to go as high as Adam. It doesn't have the same place in my heart as it does in his, but I still enjoy it. And like I said, it succeeds at what it intended to do, so it's an 85.
Well, there you go. Right now we're at a 90. I know how to do math. See, I can.
It gets harder after this, Dan.
I know. Unless they both the 90s.
I'll go first. I like this movie. This time, though, watching it for I don't know how many times I've watched it over the years, I was starting to notice things like, how does Kevin know in what order they're going to do these things? Because he has to have no shoes on to come in the window and smash the Christmas ornaments. So that stuff played in my mind as an old lady. Start to think plot hole. But what I do like, the church scene, absolutely. In fact, when we used to attend the Methodist church 2 years in a row, our pastor used that scene for children's church on Christmas Eve. And that's what made me actually go out and get the movie from the library so the kids could see it. They had never seen it before then. And then the other things that I liked were Kevin realizing his wish came true. that super fantasy that I wish this would happen, and then it does, and he's cool with it. But then as time goes on, he's like, no, I need them to come home, and then he goes and asks Santa to bring his parents home. And then he gets up and he's like, where are they? And nothing happens. And then his mother walks in the door. I love all of that. I think it's a good Christmas movie. Some of there's only one time where somebody swears in it. And it was Kevin. And I notice it every single time. And it didn't even need to be there.
Well, actually, Marv drops one somewhere in it. I can't remember.
Does
exactly
he?
Where. Yeah.
Maybe I just noticed it when Kevin says ass from the treehouse. But I notice it every single time he says it. But anyway, I'm going to give this an 89.
We're at an 89.5. No, I'm done.
No, you're wrong, Dan.
89.3.
So I really enjoy the slapstick in it. You know, I still laugh at the Three Stooges. So hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does it. He does the thing that Curly does.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't get me doing that.
No, not on. No.
And it does have a couple airplanes in it, so I'm gonna give it
American
a 9.
Airlines.
Yeah. DC-10s, they don't really fly them anymore because they have
Crash?
problems.
Oh.
So they give them to the military, let them fly. So I'm gonna give it a 90.
You should have done a 91. We would have been at 90. All right.
Oh.
Don't do that on my behalf. All right, and sticking with the rider theme.
The rider theme.
You're so Christmassy. I love it.
Yeah, I got my nice little Walmart sweater on. Well, I definitely agree with everything that everybody said, because I was just gonna like say everything that everybody said but mash it all together, because it's just all like little stuff that I really like. I started watching it like whenever I was younger, but I wasn't like a kid. So it's not as special to me as Christmas Story was, but it just appeals to me differently. But it's exactly what Dave was talking about for me, because I watch it and I'm like, yes, like I would do that. I would zip line through the yard. Like I would do that stuff. I probably tried to as a kid. Like that's the kind of stuff that I did as a kid. Like people, like, you know, like you ran around in the woods and you like jumped off of stuff. That was me.
You get in trouble for playing with stuff in the garage or the basement. You know.
Yeah. That
Smashing
was
the basement window.
Yep.
Yeah. So like all this stuff that I used to do as a kid that like
I'm just thinking I'm lucky I didn't get it from a paint can.
that Home Alone has that like I definitely did. Like straight up, like that's what I did. So that's something that I really liked about it whenever I was watching it as a kid, and especially now that's something that makes me like it a lot as an adult. The thing that I liked about it too, I was just thinking about it. I think it was as my mom was talking, but like it could have been a very different movie watching it just from Kevin's perspective, like seeing how his wish came true. And he was like, yeah, I have no parents and like all this stuff, you know? And I think to appeal to the adults, they also had like his family trying to find him, you know? And I think that was like the point of the movie. They wanted it to be a family movie. They didn't want to be this brat kid that gets what he wants and then realizes that's not what he wants. You know, like I think they wanted to have more to it. So I really like the way that they ended up doing it. And my favorite line of the movie is whenever he says, when I grow up and I get married, I'm going to live alone. And I was like, you know, I get married. Like that's just funny like that he added that, because it's just like, it makes you feel like you're watching a kid. You know what I mean? Because whenever you get older, you're like, oh, I can live, like I'm by myself right now. You know what I mean? Like that's, it just, I don't know. I really loved it. And I noticed it this time and I was just kind of like.
Okay. And she would totally say the same thing.
She says that stuff now.
Yes. But it's just like, it just was like, I don't know. I really liked it. I thought it was sweet, like how he said it. It was just cute. But yeah, so I would give it a 91, and I was going to do that before Dan said it. So
wow,
here we go.
Cody.
Oh, geez.
You're wearing a 90 on your shirt.
I am wearing a 90 on my shirt. What?
There's also a 19 behind you.
There is. Well, it's average in between. No, I'm just kidding.
Between those two.
I was 0 when this movie came out. I was not born yet. I was not even conceived yet. I was just nothing. But growing up, I watched this a lot with my family, and especially my sister and my mom. My dad would try to watch it, but he always fell asleep no matter what was on TV. Probably still does. But this movie definitely has a special place, like, in my heart, just because of the memories of growing up. But ignoring all of that and like rating it on the movie itself, I think, like what everyone said, it does what it was meant to accomplish. I must be an old lady now too, because I viewed it the same way Stacy did, and I was like, yeah, how did you know to do this now? How did you know to run upstairs now? And then, like, the one time he even got it wrong, like the one time he didn't do what they thought would do, which was like a little bit more realistic. I was like, haha, I got you.
Right.
But the movie as a whole, I just like Wade said, I love the slap happy jokes. I love the way that they portrayed it, and I never even thought about viewing it the way that Reagan just described it. Of like, if you watched it from just his perspective, it does look like, you know, I made a Christmas wish and it came true, and then appealing to the parents. That was something I never thought about. But I thought the movie was very well done. I think it speaks volume that they tried to remake this 2 other times, and it fell, well, now 3, and it fell flat on its face every other time. I don't
actually,
think
the second one is not badly reviewed. If you look online,
really,
despite
okay.
having Donald Trump in it, the second one actually it's 6 point something on IMDb.
So it either go up in rating or down in rating now with Donald Trump's whatever. Again, not getting political. I just think that this movie is, in my opinion, one of my favorite Christmas movies. There's a few that come up. Cody's wish for no parents didn't come true. Nope, it didn't. Nope, it did not. But
it's
no, that's every Christmas she does that. She makes that her profile picture. But again, I just enjoy this movie so much because it reminds me so much of everything. But I have to, if I based it on that, it would probably get like a 97. But I can't do that because I want to rate it as the movie it is, and so I have to give it. I have to give it a 91.
Oh, wow.
Eric's like, he's like, what am I going to do?
Eric's is like 3.
So,
all right.
I saw this movie as a young child of 21.
Yep.
And I don't think I saw this in the theater. I don't know when I first saw this. But I have to say, watching it now, Macaulay Culkin really does a great job as a 9-year-old kid, as an actor. Now, it's not his first movie, obviously, but he's pretty funny. He's got good comedy chops. And even now, when you see him interviewed for things, he's actually a very funny guy. I wish he would have had more of a career after being a weird child actor and Michael Jackson.
Too much success too soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And his brother seems more normal than he does, but his brother kind of knew how to avoid what he ended up doing. But he almost talks to the screen in a way, but he doesn't.
Well, the way he runs at the camera upstairs a couple of times, it's sort of an almost breaking the third wall kind of thing.
Yes, and the fourth wall. Yeah, he does the. I do think that, you know, I'm trying to find the plot holes, and like I said, I'm like, how could this possibly happen today? And they all get on the plane, and okay, they put them in the first class, they put the kids in the back. None of the kids noticed. Yeah, but
nor would they have cared.
True. But they're not going to, like, maybe they should have had, I don't know, 2 planes or something. I don't know. And then the fact that they're like, well, I'm sorry, we can't get you all on another plane home. Why would they all need to come home?
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so the mom finally gets on a flight. I'm sorry, there are flights available. I don't care. Right. And this is pre 9/11. I mean, if you think about, not to get dark, but the 9/11
I'm not sure there are flights available on Christmas Eve.
I don't know.
Yeah, but the next day they would have been.
There's going to be you're going to be able to find a seat, and especially flying out of Paris, it's not as big it's not as commercial of a huge holiday as it is here in Europe.
Yeah.
So I think she could have found a flight. And also the way that they sat everybody, it seemed like they were on Southwest, because like, okay, everybody just find your seats. You're in coach, go find your seats.
That's
like,
what I thought too.
People Express,
That's not how it works.
So yeah, I was looking for the minutia. Is it a movie I'll watch every time it's on? Probably not. Is it a movie that is in my top 10? No. So I think I'm going to score higher than Eric, but I'm going to probably be lower than than others. I give it a solid 88.
That was above me.
Was it really? I thought you were.
I gave it an 85.
Oh damn! All right, I'm going to stick with 88 anyway.
and now I think it's time for Scrooge.
Oh, I was going to go with Grinch, but hey, either way.
Hey, look, my mom, but she didn't hear me say it yet because she put that up right at the same time I said it.
That's it. Back to the Future.
So much love here. I think
Debbie Downer.
understand that it's a movie that appeals to a certain audience. I'm just not part of that audience. Honestly, the first 20 minutes of this movie is enough for me to hate no matter what happens after it. The family is so cruel that it deserves to be taken away.
Yes.
Like the worst mother on the planet.
Yes.
That all comes apart so badly. Where it's like, oh my goodness. Yeah, he needs to be home alone. He needs, somebody needs to call child services because this is terrible. So it just, for me, it's like there's just so much discomfort at the front watching him just be abused by everyone, and how he's punished and the whole thing. It's just like, oh my, what? No, this isn't funny. This is funny, and then slapstick, and so that's not my thing either. There are a few moments that keep this from being like something I hate.
Yeah.
So I don't say I hate this movie, and I do have a soft spot for Christmas movies. But to me, this is something to be avoided. And
I like that he's commenting while on the show.
Yeah.
But to me, this just doesn't work for me. So I ended up at a 62.
Wow.
Yeah, so I would rather watch A Christmas Story again.
23 points below the next lowest score.
And watch this one. So yeah.
Now, does anybody in the comments want to score? We have
1 to 100.
Mom put an 88, but yeah, it's 1 to 100. We've got Jenna, Cindy, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's commented so far.
The past few years, at least, we'll say that. If you're like, well, I haven't seen it since it came out, then
But another thing that I wanted to mention though is, and another thing that makes it a nice movie, even though I do understand some of what Eric's saying about how unpleasant they are at the beginning, is in the end, none of the family is mad at him for missing their Paris vacation.
No, not at all.
They're happy to get home and see him again. That is one of the things that makes it a family movie and a Christmas movie.
And I'm sorry, they didn't all have to come home.
I realize, but that's irrelevant, Dan.
And they got home 5 minutes after she got home.
You're willing to accept that someone can go back in time by wearing vintage clothes, but you're not willing to...
Stop it.
That's how it is.
All right.
Oh, I had something else to say about the movie and I just forgot. Oh, I'm
Cindy
so mad.
Cindy gives it an 85. We can add that.
That helps.
All right. I think we should stop home aloneing and we should start realizing what a wonderful life it is.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I don't know what a wonderful life it is.
And you want to throw out a score for Home Alone, just make sure you write Home Alone before your score, so we don't know
at this point. Yes,
we know what you're talking about, and we don't think you're talking about It's a Wonderful Life, 1946, where wishes come true, where angels are real. The greatest gift of all is right at home. Starring James Stewart, Donna Reed, and some other people we'll talk about later. Directed by Frank Capra. Budget of $3.2 million, worldwide gross of $11 million, critics 94, audience 95. And both black and white version and colorized versions were on Amazon. Streaming on Amazon Prime.
I watched the colorized. Who watched the colorized?
Ooh, no way.
I'd never seen it, so I wanted to watch it. I'd seen the other one many times.
I watched through the colorized after, just for fun. And considering, it is interesting to see what they did there. But no, I watched the black and white.
Oh.
And this was my first time ever watching this movie from beginning to end. There are parts I've never seen before.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
I kept waiting for Christmas Past and Christmas Future. I'm like, oh wait, wrong movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
I kept waiting for the Heat Miser to show up, but
Yeah.
Well, in my freaky facts, which I'll get to, there's a little bit of info about the heat.
Yep.
I'll just say it now. They shot this in Los Angeles, and it was 90 degrees out. The lot was built in Encino, California, in the middle of the valley. And there's a scene, and I can actually I freeze framed it here. Right here, and you can see the sweat on his forehead.
Oh yeah.
When he's on the bridge, and
Well, he's been running.
Yeah.
What's that?
He's been running.
But still, it's supposed to be snowing out. You don't sweat.
You've never sweat in the snow. I've done it.
I've never run in the snow. I've never run, to be honest.
You never hauled a sled back up a steep hill and been sweating when you got to the top.
Only at the I only sled at the Sheemer household back in the old days. Down in the backyard, we used to go down into the neighbor's yard and into their neighbor's yard.
It's the sweat back up that hill.
But and they did win an award because they used to use cornflakes painted white as snow, and it was very crunchy. So they took like a fire starter chemical, and mixed it with a couple other things, and they invented the snow that they ended up using, and it was reusable. And they won sort of an Oscar for it, like
a
an
technical
Academy
award of some sort.
So speaking of the snow, at the end, well, not at the end, but when Bert the cop finds him on the bridge and he hugs him, when Bert turns around, or one of them, you see handprints on his back in the snow, whatever they used. So
awesome.
It's like this on the back because of that snow. It was thick.
That's crazy. Was this anybody else's first time for this movie, or am I alone in that?
Adam.
Oh, Adam.
Cody hasn't seen it yet.
That's right. Cody's never seen it.
I'm watching it this week, and we'll put my rating in before next Monday.
There you go.
All right. And
put Cody off in the corner for the rest of this.
That's right.
If you want, I can hit this. It's already started the facts. Do we have to do that? We don't have to do the bumper thing again, do we?
Go ahead. Tell us some facts about this movie, Dan.
All right. Now, a lot of you know the number 42 is very important in a lot of things, correct?
Mm-hmm.
From the Hitchhiker's Guide?
Mm-hmm.
42 rings are heard over the course of the film. So if Clarence is right, 42 angels got their wings
Wow.
throughout the film. Yeah. Now, there might be some spoilers here, Cody, but I hate that. But for the
Hold on,
scene
I
that
won't listen.
All right. For the scene that required Donna Reed to throw a rock through the window, Frank Capra hired a marksman to shoot it. Like she was going to throw a rock, and then a marksman was there to shoot the window out. But to everyone's amazement, she broke the window on her first try because she had played baseball in high school and she had a very strong throwing arm. When filming the scene in which George prays in the bar, Jimmy Stewart was so overcome he began to cry. And Frank Capra later reframed that shot and blew it up because he wanted to catch the expression on his face. And that's why that shot is very grainy, if anybody noticed that, because they zoomed in on, today they call that the pan and scan, I believe. I'd mentioned the heat wave already. Clarence's boss is named Franklin in the novelization, presumably named after recently deceased Franklin D. Roosevelt. Describes life as the greatest gift in one of the opening scenes, and that was the title of the 1944 story that this was based on.
Oh.
The Greatest Gift. Clarence Oddbody, who is portrayed by Dave in this particular film of ours, he was born in May of 1653.
What?
That's how old he was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It did get mixed reviews when it came out. It only made 3.3 million of its 3.7 originally.
Yeah.
Placed 26th in the box office in 1947, right ahead of Miracle on 34th Street.
Wow.
Christmas movies were not popular.
It wasn't even a Christmas movie, though. It came out in the summer.
Yeah, and I've also heard the theory that the post-war people wanted much lighter fare than this. They didn't really, they weren't going to the theater to see this kind of movie.
And when its copyright lapsed in 1974, it was available as a royalty-free
public domain
movie for a long time, and that was until 94, and they changed the rules. In a 1947 memo, the FBI issued the following statement: with regard to the picture "It's a Wonderful Life," redacted blank, stated in substance that the film represented rather obvious attempts to discredit bankers by casting Lionel Barrymore as a Scrooge type so that he would be the most hated man in the picture. Thus, according to these sources, it is a common trick used by communists.
God.
They're saying this was a communist propaganda. But Frank Capra based George Bailey's character on Amadeo Giannini. No relation to Ed Giannini,
Are
our
you
former, it might have been. He was our high school principal. Also known as A.P. Giannini, the founder of the Bank of Italy, which became the original Bank of America in California, which is also part of the present-day Bank of America. And he's credited as the inventor and innovator of modern banking practices, because banks used to only be for very wealthy people. It was not something that the middle class even had access to. And that is who he based.
Well, and that's touched on in this movie. The whole argument between the huge bank owned by Potter, or eventually controlled by Potter, and the building and loan.
Yep.
Yep. And mortgages were only created to sell a loan. A house. No, the housing market was only created to sell loans, not to sell houses. That's a whole other. We could talk a long time about that.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
I did like the colored version. I didn't mind it.
I watched it last year when I was wrapping presents, so I was only glancing at it.
And I think, we lost Adam. I think it was a subtle colored version. It wasn't like overly done, because I read some reviews like, oh my God, it looked like crayons, and it was just so bright. And this one was very subtle, so I think they might have toned it down.
Yeah, it was one of the first ones that they colorized, that Ted Turner colorized. I remember being a bit miffed about that when I got the DVD and it was in color.
Ted.
That's all. I mean, it's still impressive technology, I will say.
Yes. Absolutely.
Impressive. Whether you think they should have done it or not, either way, it is to take something that was a full movie. I mean, goodness gracious, apps you can get for your phone that you're supposed to be impressed that it can colorize a photo.
They should colorize Schindler's List.
Oy.
Oy vey. Okay, so anything?
We could colorize my comedy special. You could finally fix it.
Turn her on the phone. There you go. Frame by frame. Just use one of those color changing apps. It would be perfect. That would actually be awesome. Okay, so no plot holes in this movie. No discussions of no.
Well, I mean, was he really an angel?
In space.
You just make it so
angels are clearly in space.
Yes. Yes, and galaxies talk to each other.
Yeah, they are galaxies.
That's how that technology works.
Yeah. Well, does anybody wonder what it would be like if they were never born? Like, have you ever thought about that? Like, if you could actually see the world without you ever have been born?
Well, yeah, it's interesting.
Eric's like, no, of course.
If you remember, it's not quite the same thing. But back in A Christmas Story, when he fantasizes about coming back blind, after getting soap poisoning, you as a kid, you fantasize about, if I weren't here, you'd regret the way you've treated me and all of that kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, but honestly, now, I mean, and I don't, I have no idea if this was as well used of a storyline before It's a Wonderful Life, but since, I mean, how many TV episodes and movies have existed based on this single premise?
This has become a cliche.
Yeah.
I think Gilligan's Island did it at least once.
Oh, yeah.
Probably.
Every sitcom that lasts long enough does an episode like this, it seems.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What if only I think of it as, what if I didn't do this? Like, if you take one thing in your life and you're like, if I went left instead of right.
Yeah, the butterfly effect.
Yeah, all the things that would have changed. But not doing it, not ever existing, I can't even imagine.
No.
Right, because you think like it'd be like the same, except you're just not there. You know what I mean? Like, you can't see like all the other pieces that'd be different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like what if Stacy would have recommended another movie? What would that have been like?
What if we'd been discussing Die Hard now? Adam wouldn't have left.
Adam got a phone call. Cody just texted in. He wants to hear the scores. LOL. Let him know when he can come back.
Are we gonna do some scores?
He's just sitting there.
Let's do some scores because we still have a lot of business to take care of.
Yes.
So, you got to start with Stacy with this one because this is hers.
Oh yeah, I got to do the little thing here where I do the thing and then
that's not me.
thing. There you are. It takes a second. Relax. All right, you're
You
up.
changed your hair.
Okay, so I remember watching this when I was little and starting like in the middle somewhere. I didn't know that it was so long. And they tell you the space, the galaxies talking to each other, that it's going to take an hour to tell George's story, and it really does. I'm like, oh my gosh, I never noticed that before.
They're not liars.
No, they're not. I like this movie, of course, because it's Jimmy Stewart. It's a great story. Watching it this time, the more you watch something, the more nuance you get. And I was thinking, Violet Rutherford, is that her name?
Violet, anyway.
I think Rutherford is actually from Leave It to Beaver. So anyway, Violet, her character.
Gloria Graham.
Yeah, her character, how her life would have been different if George wasn't in her life to keep her on the straight and narrow. Really? But I was thinking that, and how the Ernie and the cab driver and Bert and even George, when she walks by, they're all like, I'm like, what is happening here? And the guy in the street who gets beeped at, and then to his wife, and I'm like, man, these people in the 40s.
Oh, come on. I knew people like
now.
that. I knew people like that. It was
People like that.
Now it's just funny. I don't know. Just some of that. I was like, wow, this is an old movie, and they're still doing that. They did it even then in the movies. I just thought that that it would have been different. But there was other stuff that I was thinking of too. Now I can't remember what it was. I don't know. I liked it though. I think it's a great story. I like the relationships between the characters, and I don't know. It was just good. So I'm going to give it a 90.
90. Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Wade.
Yeah, I think I was a little bit older when I saw this first time. I want to say it's probably in the 80s or something. I saw it, but yeah, I mean, it's good and enjoyable. It's one that definitely, if I'm flipping through and it's on, I'll stop and watch it again. I think the dance at the high school scene was probably my favorite.
It's very fun.
And afterwards, I like that.
I love the principal.
What a dilemma.
I love the principal diving in.
And that gym, that's actually the gym at Beverly Hills High School.
Yep.
That's where they filmed that. And it actually opens up for real. And they're actually refurbishing right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful gym.
So, yeah, I was going to go for a 90 on this one too. So.
Wow.
All right. We'll go over to Clarence Oddbody.
Okay. It's an interesting. This movie has an interesting place for me. It's one of the movies. It's one of the few movies that existed well before I was born, but I still remember exactly when I saw it for the first time, because freshman year of college, I had never seen it, and I might have heard of it. I don't know. It just never was on my radar. They used to have was it Hammerschlag? They used to have in one of the halls at college, they would have on Saturday night or something, you could go in and watch a free movie. They'd put it up in the screen in the lecture hall. And some December before Christmas break, I went over to see the free movie, and It's a Wonderful Life. And I knew nothing about it going in, which I know Eric always loves, to just try to come in as cold as possible to a movie without preconceptions, without trying to skew what you should think of it with all of their marketing.
It's magic.
And it's the first movie I can remember, and it doesn't mean it's the first one where it happened, but it's the first movie I can remember bringing me to tears. And it moved me in a way that I'd never expected. And I have not watched it now probably in about 7 or 8 years, because I watched it too much.
Yeah.
And I needed to take a break from it. So this was actually nice to see it again. And it had been long enough that I could appreciate it anew without it being a little too worn for me. And I have nothing bad to say about it. I mean, Jimmy Stewart is brilliant, as he is in so many movies. Donna Reed is gorgeous and a very good actress who I really didn't see her in a whole lot of other films. She had her TV show that was before my time, but I love Thomas Mitchell, who is Uncle Billy. He was in Stagecoach and brilliant in that. I always love him as a character actor. Lionel Barrymore could chew up scenery like few other actors.
Chew up scenery. I like that.
Oh yeah, he was just. I mean, he plays the villain. He would have been a Bond villain if he had been born 40 years later.
Yeah.
I mean, he would have just been
Yeah.
you know. So I just the message, you know, and interesting to tie the two movies together. Reagan talked about Kevin wishing, and the wish seeming to come true, and that's the same. If that's the theme in this movie too, you know, he wishes. He'd never been born, and it's granted to him. And just like Kevin, he comes to realize that's not what he wants after all.
Right.
And it's just a heartwarming movie that I know it doesn't work for everybody, including some of my family members. But it has a very, very warm place in my heart for a solid 96.
Ooh.
Did you tear up again?
In
a couple spots, yeah. Yeah, it's a movie that for some reason hits the right buttons for me.
It is one of the most inspirational movies of all time. It's on many lists as being very inspirational.
And Jimmy Stewart, man, he just can sell anything.
Yes,
he's good. Yeah.
He's the Tom Hanks of his era. He really is. They have a lot in
Yes.
common.
I was thinking we need a remake with Tom Hanks. I thought that he would be perfect. Not that we need one, but
if we did, Tom
would
Hanks
be
would be the
one.
man.
NBC's going to do a live version. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead, please.
Tom Hanks or Vin Diesel, one or the other. I don't know. It's
At the movies.
Vin Diesel?
I am George.
I think Steve Gutenberg would kill it.
We
Go
are
ahead.
George. We are George. Okay.
Well,
Reagan.
speaking of remakes and NBC, I have only seen this movie one time, and it was in the middle of my Chuck deep dive. And so I didn't get to watch it this week, and so I don't really feel comfortable rating it fairly, but I do remember watching it. We watched it because I was watching Zach Levi interviews. He was at his Nerd HQ panel, and somebody asked him if he could redo a movie, what would he do? And he said, I would really like to be this character in It's a Wonderful Life. And he was talking about Jimmy Stewart's character. And so my mom was like, oh, did you ever see that? And I said, no. So we watched it. And that's the only time that I've seen this. Yeah, last year. That's the only time that I've seen it. But I remember, like, it wasn't as heavy for me, but I felt the same way that Dave felt about it because, like, I never saw anything about it. I don't know how, but I never understood what it was about, anything, literally anything. And so I watched it and I really liked the message because, yeah, it's overdone now, but seeing it from whenever it was like one of like the first movies that ever did that storyline, like you can see how much thought they actually put into it because now it's like everybody knows that storyline. So they don't put a whole lot of thought into it. They just throw it together, you know? And like, yes, it's important, but people just butcher it now because they're like, well, everybody knows this, you know? So I really liked seeing the thought that they put into it. I don't remember specifics or anything, but I do remember really enjoying it and thinking that it was like a sweet movie. Like I just didn't expect it to actually be, I don't want to say I didn't expect it to be good, but I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. And I really wish that I remembered enough of it to rate it, but it is finals week, so I didn't watch it, but
fair enough.
But yeah, it was a good one.
Awesome.
Ooh, nice job, Dan.
There we go.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I lost my background, but that's okay.
He's decolorized himself.
Yes. I love Jimmy Stewart. I think he's fantastic. I had not seen this movie in a while, and I don't know that I've watched it beginning to end other than one other time prior to this. And it is inspirational, and you do get a little teary-eyed, and you do get a little nostalgic to what would the world be like if I wasn't here. And I also love the fact that there's a huge mistake in the movie that they kept in when the uncle is drunk and he points him in the direction. He walks off screen, and you hear all the stuff fall.
Yes.
And he goes, "I'm okay. I'm all right." A stagehand like dropped a whole bunch of stuff. And Jimmy Stewart's like looking at it like, what? And then he ad-libbed, "I'm okay. I'm all right." And he like smiles and laughs, and they kept that in. And awesome. I love when stuff like that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the movies that's when it's on, I will keep watching it. So I'm going to go with a 96 on this one.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, it's a classic. It's one of the best movies, even if it's not a Christmas movie. It's one of the best movies ever. And now let's colorize back to Eric.
Ooh, it's me. I love this. This was great. I said this was my first time watching it. Maybe not as much as everybody here, but it was my first time, so I don't think I've had a chance to fall that much in love with it.
Yeah,
it's wonderful. It is long.
Yeah.
They do so much setup, which is great. But boy, it takes you to a while to get to actually see how the world falls apart. But they set you up so well.
Yeah.
When his world falls apart, you get to see how much devastation there is in a world where he doesn't exist. So I get why that's happening, but boy, that's a lot of setup, which would probably keep me from watching it every year, just because it's like, wow, that's long.
That's why you watch it in pieces.
I mean, the acting is amazing, and it is. There's a reason why this storyline has been ripped off and redone so many times. So I ended up at an 86. I really did enjoy this. And look at that.
My mom, first time she's watched the whole movie.
Wow.
Me and Susan are in the same ballpark here.
This is one of once you've seen the movie the whole way through, then you can watch it in bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah. And Reagan, the reason you've never seen it before is because it was always a Christmas Eve movie after you guys went to bed while we were putting the presents out.
What? You put them out? Shh.
Don't tell
No,
her.
she told me in 5th grade, and then the stupid little because some kid made fun of me because I still believed in Santa Claus, and then
So she asked.
So I asked her, and then she told me, and then I cried, and then those little Save the Animals commercials came on, and it was awful.
the whole in the arms of the angel. That was one.
What happened?
Oh, the little Sarah McLachlan. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. And Stacey's been paying for it ever since.
So we can't give the official scores for this movie because Cody and Reagan will have to watch it and submit their scores later.
Right. I can give you an idea of where they end up. We'll see. And so these numbers.
Wait, did Adam give a score?
No.
No, he got a phone call.
He got a phone call, but here we go.
Do not have Adam's score yet.
Oh, jeez.
Did he butcher it?
Yes. This movie was not for me. It was long, boring, and I actually turned it off 3 times before I finished it. Had to watch Die Hard after to cleanse the palate.
Whoa.
4.
Wow.
Wow.
Eric, that's just because you gave Home Alone such a bad score.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we might have to wait till after Cody and Reagan if you guys want to watch it this week and throw your numbers out.
I'll probably watch it Sunday.
Have until Sunday to submit a score. Wow.
Anyone else in the comments who wants to put a score in, by all means.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. If you're in the comments, don't be shy. Colorized version or black and white.
It's also interesting to think of this movie because, again, it came out in 1946, which is just a year after World War II ended. Mm-hmm. And the Depression and the war were much, much fresher in people's minds. Mm-hmm. So watching it today, it still moves you, I think, but I think it would have been really moving to have watched it back when you knew your parents had been those people that couldn't afford a home. And they were talking about the one, was it Martini's house was $5,000, and that's about 62,000, I think I looked up in today's money. So these were still very small homes. These were not at all fancy, but the idea of being able to have your own home, which we sort of take for granted, many of us.
Yeah.
It was just such a huge step. It was really what built the middle class, because you saw, when you saw Pottersville, there was no middle class. There was the low end, and then there was Potter and the guy that had the tree that he was so worried about, that owned the businesses, and that not a whole lot in between.
Yeah. I don't know. Some people might have liked Pottersville. Maybe some people watched and thought, "Hey,
Well, if you like bars, there were plenty of them.
Like New Orleans, Dan, didn't it make you feel a little homesick for New Orleans?
Yes, all the bars. Got to have bars.
Okay, so we will share ratings for these later in the week or next Monday to see where these ones finally end up. But before we go on to talk about. Before we go on to anything, I have to go over the family conversation we have happening in the comments. So Cindy says, I've never watched it. Cody says, Mom, we can watch it later this week if you want. And she says, maybe. So motherly. She's like the mother from Home Alone.
How rude. And then Adam, of course, says, I swear I'm not heartless.
That's awesome.
All right.
Well, Dan's mother. Well, we know that Dan's mom is still in the comments. I want to share two more people's top 10s reviewed movies of 2021 because I want to share hers.
Great.
Top 10 movies of 2021 that we've watched and reviewed. So Susan's top 10 reviewed movies of 2021.
More time.
Wow, that's all over the place.
Time coming up there at number 3. It's Complicated, The Terminal, Grease, Hoosiers, Cruella, The Sting, and The Apartment. Yeah.
All right.
You know what the goal should be? Everyone should have to come up with some kind of like paragraph or statement using all their top 10.
I'll go right now. Do you have mine also, Eric?
Not yet. We're saving for later.
Oh.
Yeah, we're only doing a couple of these a week.
Oh, well, you said you had 2 or more. I figured you were doing.
You're rationing them.
Yeah, I am.
By the way, my mom mentioned that their house that she grew up in that they bought in 1944 for $8,000 in
so similar ballpark. Yeah.
All right. Now, Cody. It turns out Cody. Before we start to do Christmas movies, Cody was with us for 12 movies. So Cody's top 10.
It's really a bottom 2.
Features, but
his top 10 are also his bottom 12.
Well, that's very true. Absolutely. So yeah, so towards the bottom of his might not be his favorite movies. So in your top 10, Iron Man, Black Widow, Jojo Rabbit, Apollo 13, Aliens, Radio, Notting Hill, The Terminal, Grease, and Rear Window. So Cody, where does this fall off to being some of your least favorite movies?
Probably at 8.
We've watched 2 Marvel movies, and they're Cody's top 2.
Yeah, but I respect that. I have full respect for that.
You act like if we watched the rest of them, they wouldn't be up there.
So, all right. So we will have more to share of those.
Can we watch the Ben Affleck Daredevil? How would that rank?
That would rank mid-70s.
Oh, okay.
If Baby, I don't remember. Electra was in it, so.
Yes, true enough.
That is very true. All right. It is time to spin the wheel. Is that right? I think so.
Ho, ho, ho! Feliz Navidad.
Feliz Navidad.
Ho, ho. I think I forgot to. I can't believe I forgot to share this. I was going to share this before I gave my rating for Home Alone, and the fact that there was actually 6 Home Alone movies.
Oh my!
If you had
4 and 5, I'm not familiar with. Yeah.
There was. Yeah, before.
Well, when the first one made over $400 million in $1990, of course there's going to be.
Yeah. They just kept churning them out. I think 4 and 5 were direct to video DVD.
Interesting treat. I was looking at the cast of 2, and 2 pretty much brought everybody back. Macaulay Culkin was there, Catherine O'Hara, and it was pretty reasonably well reviewed. 3 was abysmal, and I was looking at the cast list of 3. And I was thinking, I don't recognize a single person on this cast list until I got to this Scarlett Johansson person.
Yep. That's what I thought too. I watched the third one,
let's not forget.
and I was like, "What is that her?"
What?
I was like, she's like little too. She's like a kid. She's like younger than she was in whenever she was kissing Bill Murray. Like,
oh my goodness.
Well, yeah, in North, I think in North she's like 11 or 12. Like she is, yeah. All right. So Dan and I had a discussion about this, and I don't know, Dan, if you remember.
Oh, I do. What do you? If I remember, I'm not.
You should have televised the debate.
It was a long time ago. So our discussion was that basically we're only going to, in order to give people a chance to get their movie chosen for Christmas, we're not going to let people whose movie has been chosen add another movie to the wheel. And if you have a movie on the wheel already, you can change your movie, but you can't add an additional movie. So
you can keep this prize or take what's behind door number 2.
That's right. Exactly. So Adam and Stacy have had their chance to have a movie for Christmas. So they're holidays. So they're out. Anybody else who's got a movie on the wheel can change their movie, can keep their movie the same. If you do not have a holiday movie on the wheel already, you can add a movie to the wheel. So if you're in the comments, if Cindy wants to add a movie to the wheel for the holidays, she can do that because she does not have a movie on the wheel already. Does that make sense to everybody? Is that confusing enough? Yeah. So yeah, that's where we stand. So does anybody want to change their movie?
I'm sticking with mine.
Yours was The Bishop's Wife.
The Bishop's Wife.
That's what I thought. Wait, you know what it's going to be too. All right, and I believe Christmas with the Cranks was who was Christmas?
Wade.
That's Wade. That's right.
Yeah, stick with that.
And The Bishop's Wife is on Prime Video, so that's an easy one.
So it's Margaret.
I'm sticking with mine. Mine was Love Actually.
Cody, I believe you were Jingle All the Way.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah, you sticking with that?
Yeah.
Well,
So I think Dan is the only one on here with any nudity.
What is the holiday?
Is there nudity in Love Actually?
The holiday.
Topless.
The holiday, I think, was my mom.
Yeah, I think so
Yeah,
too.
that does sound right. All right, there we go. All right, so we do have some comments coming in here.
Ooh. Any Christmas movie, Mom.
Yeah, any Christmas movie.
Any good Christmas movie.
Holiday movie, Christmas movie. I
Hallmark
think I know what
movie.
she's gonna pick.
As long as the Hallmark movies.
Same,
available.
Adam. Same.
I'm really hoping it's a Melissa Joan Hart movie.
Oh God.
You don't want a Debbie Gibson movie? She's done like 37 of these Christmas movies. They're the same movie.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's.
What is the worst Christmas movie? I remember going to see Santa Claus the movie in movie theaters, and boy, was that a stinker.
Oh, yeah, I remember which
With
one.
Dudley Moore.
Ooh, I don't know what that one is.
Yes, that was
Great
terrible.
title. A very merry mix-up is what Cindy chooses.
I don't know what that is.
That sounds like a Hallmark movie.
It probably is. She
Oh.
loves her Hallmark movies.
Oh man, she's just up the ante here.
Oh.
Woo! All right.
Spin it hard.
Are we ready? Should I?
I thought she was gonna do the Christmas shoes. So
Oh,
that's what I thought she was gonna do.
We dodged a bullet there.
do we want to shuffle this, or are we gonna leave this as it goes?
Oh.
I hear a
Might as
shuffle.
well shuffle it.
All right, I hear. Okay, we're gonna do a little quick shuffle here. There's the shuffle. There it is. They've been shuffled. All right, hold your breath, everybody. Here we go.
No whammies. No whammies.
Stop. Oh, it doesn't stop when you say stop.
It's thinking about it. Oh, look at that!
Oh.
Actually,
Cool.
it's Dan's movie. How about that? I don't think you got a holiday movie last year, Dan. I don't think.
I just heard a
tried
cheer from downstairs.
I think I tried 8 Crazy Nights 9 times, but
I think you did have 8 Crazy Nights in there a lot. We got
Adam, don't even watch
Those are
it.
tears of joy.
Adam.
Tears of joy.
Adam, we tried.
It is not an Adam movie.
We'll still have 2 more weeks after this.
We're watching this movie together, though, right?
That is correct. That is correct. So that
Yeah.
We're having a watch party, huh?
We're gonna have a watch party on Sunday
coming
that will not be streamed.
Sunday night. It will not be live, obviously.
Oh my goodness.
Now Adam's into it.
Oh, man. Yeah, but it's Hugh Grant. No, I'm sorry. It's not. Wow.
Yeah, the good news there's nudity. The bad news is it's Hugh Grant. So
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic. Well, there we go. Love Actually. I don't know really. Actually, I don't know a lot about this movie. I think
good.
Is this the one with the wet, wet, wet song?
What?
I feel it in your fingers.
It, like It's a Wonderful Life, has spawned a million imitators. This sparked a whole genre of movies with these intermingled plots that just sometimes worked, but most of the time not.
Right.
Well, this will be very interesting. Well, that's cool. All right. So Dan gets a movie. And so yeah, so we'll share details of how we're going to get together virtually for a watch along, whether you want to watch it beforehand or not, because I don't think everybody's going to sit quietly during the movie.
If you've never seen it before, you might want to watch it ahead of time because you're not going to be able to follow it terribly well with everybody jawing.
Don't be annoyed that everybody's not going to sit quiet.
And we're probably going to be commenting on the movie as it goes.
Yes, I believe there will probably be some discussion about.
And somebody will be pausing. I'm not. Are you going to be in charge, or am I going to be in charge of it, Eric?
No, I think it runs. I don't think there's any pausing. I think it runs. If people talk, people talk. I don't think it keeps talking. Otherwise, it'll be a 4-hour.
I mean,
it isn't the shortest of movies.
This is like Mystery Science 3000, except with
it just runs. It just runs. It'll be fun.
It's 2 hours 15 minutes, so it's about the same as It's a Wonderful Life.
I would encourage you, if you've never seen it before and you're planning on joining us, watch it once beforehand somehow.
I agree.
Yeah, I think you'll have a better time with us. You'll get more out of the movie. Blah blah blah.
Blah blah blah.
Blah blah blah. All right. Do we have time?
We have like 8 minutes.
Oh my goodness. Well, then I think we have some time for that. I mean, I know you had 2 movies to watch this week, so maybe nobody watched anything else.
I gotta remember what I've watched this week.
Well, while everybody's thinking, I will share my terrible story about my kids, and I'll tie this into what I've been watching because I've made reference to the fact that the G4 network is back on TV. And if you don't know, G4 is a gaming network that used to be on in the early 2000s, I think till about 2011, when they finally were acquired by Esquire, I think, and then went off the air. But they are the first people who brought Ninja Warrior to the States. They brought the original Japanese show and inspired the NBC, American Ninja Warrior. But before they were G4, they were a network. They were a technology network. It was originally Tech TV is what they ended up being.
The setup's longer than It's a Wonderful Life.
It is. It's pretty bad. But on Tech TV, there was a show called The Screensavers, and they were hosted by 2 guys named Kevin and Alex.
No, sir.
You didn't.
Well, my wife would deny this as the truth, but it is the truth.
Wait, no, really? Oh my gosh!
Thank God you weren't watching Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, or a huge Three Stooges fan.
They okay. Now, so there is, So we were gonna name my oldest
Harry and Marv.
Could have been Harry and Marv. We were actually gonna name my first son Harrison, and we were gonna call him Harry. The story goes that my wife went to her boss. My wife was at work with her boss, and her boss's little girl was there, probably a little 6-year-old girl, and her boss was saying, "Hey, this is Miss Jen, and they're gonna have a little boy, and they're gonna name him Harry." And this little sweet girl goes, "Is his middle name gonna be Butt?"
Wow.
Yeah, and so from that moment on, we decided to question whether Harry was the right name, and so and at the time, there were changes being made on this TV show that were disturbing me a little bit. I wasn't happy about the changes they were making, and they were getting rid of one of the people. They were getting rid of Alex, and I was sort of like, "Oh, I can't believe they're getting rid of Alex. I really like him on this show." And it was like, "Oh, Alex, I kind of like that name." And so it was like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." I'm like, well, maybe we consider Alex. And that's how my first son became Alex. And when the second son came along, we were so used to this name of Kevin and Alex. And Alex and Kevin, it was like, Kevin just seems to flow so naturally.
Wow. That's why you have to stop at 2, huh?
We talked about we had other plans. The 2 of these actually went on to become more famous. In the early 2000s, there was a website called dig.com that was very popular for a very brief period of time. And the 2 of them, after they left Tech TV, went on to host a show called Dig Nation, where they drank a lot of beer and talked about tech on a weekly podcast.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's pretty much where the names come from. I won't say they're not named after these people, but the names came from
right.
Because Alex is a pretty popular name, so that didn't bother me. Kevin, I was like, Eric doesn't seem like a Kevin kind of guy. I just
What is
was like,
a Kevin
not very
kind of
many
guy?
people name their child Kevin. And Reagan, when she met your kids at Rachel Klein's house a few years ago, she was enamored with the name Kevin.
Yeah,
a little bit.
I thought it'd be after Kevin Feige.
It's a solid name.
It's a great name.
I like it. It's just not a normal.
See, the
everybody
Harrison I
uses-
remember
Oh,
was
he gone.
Oh, Eric got pissed.
He said no.
The Harrison I remembered was he was taking. I'll wait till he comes back on. There he is. Oh,
so did I had to leave? No, good.
The Harrison I remember was you were gonna name him Harry. Harrison was George Harrison, and Harry was, or maybe it was Harrison Ford, but it was Harry for Harry Anderson, so he could go around saying, "Hi, I'm Harry, but aren't we all?"
I did use that joke a lot. I did.
Yes. And it
I use that joke a lot.
That's funny.
And you were going to name your egg Harrison, but you went with Wolfgang Amadeus Schiemer.
That is true. I'll have that.
Does anybody else remember the TV show? And I hope for your sake that you don't. I Want to Marry Harry.
Wow.
I've heard of it, I think.
It was a reality-ish kind of show where they had all these American women, like The Bachelor, they brought together for this mystery bachelor that they were going to compete to win. And they weren't telling them who it was. And they picked a guy who looks a lot like Prince Harry. This was 7 years
I've
ago.
seen it. I saw it.
Yeah.
And they were, all these American women were, I think it's Prince Harry. I think we're gonna be dating Prince Harry. And it was just such, it was so cringeworthy.
It was
It was
weird.
awful.
Terrible. All right, here's Alex Albrecht and Kevin Rose on Jimmy Fallon when he was still hosting the Late Late Show.
Oh, they brought their computers with them. That's nice.
Of course, that was their shtick, is that they always were sitting with laptops on their laps as they did their Dignation podcast, and so they came on the show. That's about as far as they got. But Kevin Rose ended up being like a quadruple millionaire or whatever. He's like,
Yep, I Want to Marry Harry. There it is.
wow, that's terrible.
I watched like an episode of that and I was like, oh, is that him? Like I hate that stuff. And I was like, is that him or no? Is that yes? No. Like even me, I was just kind of like obsessed with it for like 20 minutes and then I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I don't care about it.
You could make an alternate show just about Bigfoot fetishes.
Why?
Want to marry Harry? Like you want to marry a hairy person?
Oh.
Well, there was a show called Harry and the Hendersons, and he was a sausage.
Yep. With John
I think it was a movie too, wasn't it?
John Lithgow was in the movie, and actually, with the woman who played the mother in A Christmas Story last week was the mother.
Yes,
in
you
the
mentioned it last week. That's right.
In January, I'll have to put that on the wheel.
Wow.
Oh,
I haven't seen. I saw that one time when it came out, and I haven't seen it since.
So did anybody watch anything?
There's a reason for that, I'm sure.
Steelers and
Hey, Eric.
any other viewings this week? I don't think I did.
Curb Your Enthusiasm. I've been watching that. If you haven't watched this season, Richard Lewis is on this episode. Very funny.
I like Richard Lewis.
Hawkeye continues to be awesome.
Did episode 4 come out yet?
Episode 3 was this past week.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna binge it.
I'm caught up. I need episode 4 to come out.
Big Red Dog.
Binge and purge it.
Yeah, it was kind of like when it was over with, it was like, oh man, I gotta wait for another week.
And now it's been 2.
We're so spoiled, man. Jeez.
The final season of The Expanse is coming out sometime this month.
Oh wow.
Eric, did you say you saw Clifford?
No, I was asking if anybody saw Clifford.
Yo, don't judge me if I go see that.
I
Reagan?
so bad.
Reagan, let's go.
I literally am graduating. I have finals. Like I can't. I haven't. The
Cody
only
was
thing that I
rejected twice. Cody was rejected twice to watch a movie with somebody.
That's okay.
No.
It's just my stage of life right now.
The only thing that I watched this week was 15 minutes of Home Alone right before this because I've seen it before multiple times. and one like the newest episode of Dexter, and I was in the middle of like doing a project, and I was like, I have to watch this episode right now at midnight, or I'm not gonna finish my project. And I watched it, and I was like,
she texted me.
She doesn't care about Dexter. I was like, Mom, you got to know about this. Like,
Nobody cares.
And
about
I was in bed. I was like,
this guy was in this, and she was like,
bed.
Is he okay? Like, what is it? Is he dead? I was like, no, this is what happened. And so I gave her the rundown of season 8, and then like the new. Like,
wow.
She was like,
my life.
I started watching Wheel of Time on Amazon, but I haven't. I really have to be in the right space. It's a very weird. It's not your typical time travel movie or show, and they don't wear period clothes and hypnotize themselves. So I just don't get it.
You just can't buy the premise. Huh?
I just can't buy the premise.
That's how I thought about Tomorrow War. I was like, they are not wearing fancy suits. It's not working.
If Christopher Lloyd had just dressed in a vintage suit and gotten in the car.
Exactly.
That'd have been funny though, actually.
He did bring cotton underwear because they didn't know if they had cotton in the future.
Yeah.
The end of the whole thing.
I haven't watched it yet, but I bought my ticket for Spider-Man.
That's exciting. I keep seeing ads for PS5s. I don't know what your problem is. No, sorry.
I have a screenshot from today when I tried to get one and I didn't. So,
and rumor has it that Charlie Cox is being brought in to the MCU as Daredevil.
oh, he definitely is.
Which is very cool because he was excellent in the Netflix series.
Okay, this is not a good spot for you.
Have we watched anything?
Just Friday Night Dinner in the movies.
Yeah.
I bet your podcast was a little more pleasant this week, Cody.
Oh, it was much more pleasant.
So nobody's watched North yet.
Oh, now I can't hear.
No.
Actually, it turns out Dan mentioned North quite a while ago.
I mentioned North because I listened to Alan Zweibel's audiobook, and he wrote the movie, and it's considered one of the worst movies ever. But it is Rob Reiner.
Oh, it's not really considered one of the worst movies ever. It's considered one of the biggest flops ever. Not quite the same thing.
True.
You mean the Old North? Like
the one with
the Rob Reiner film?
Yeah. It's got Rob Reiner, or it's Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Jason Alexander.
Yeah.
Kid wants to divorce his parents.
Jennifer and I actually saw that when it came out. We actually did watch it when it came out.
I think I did too.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. It's funny. You know, we had forgotten all about it, and then we got a copy and just sort of skimmed through it, and it's like, we saw this. Oh yeah.
That's from when we first got married.
Remember what it was any good?
Elijah Wood. Yeah, Elijah Wood was in it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I certainly don't remember
Scarlett
Johansson from.
But subconsciously,
it looks just the same. Yeah.
It's just such a busy season. I haven't been watching as much as usual.
It's not. It's just not the
Helen
time.
Gillis, huh?
You recognized her.
No, I saw her last name.
I still haven't finished Cowboy Bebop yet. I'm trying to finish that. I went and did stand up on Saturday, so that kind of killed my movie watching period.
I saw that.
I was getting ready for Friday. Hopefully it all works.
It'll work.
Here, look, there's a hold on, wait for it. Wait for it. There she is. There's Scarlett Johansson. Nope.
Which one?
The pigtails.
Oh my gosh. Oh, look at Elijah
What a
Wood.
cutie. Oh my gosh, is that the guy from Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Yes.
And Back to the Future.
Wow.
He's in Back to the Future too.
He is?
Yeah. He's the guy. He's the kid shooting the guns at the when he goes back in time, or when he goes into the future.
Oh.
He's like, I remember this game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Huh.
Oh my God, she looks like Stephanie Tanner almost. How rude.
Don't talk about my relatives like that.
Wrong Tanner. You're right.
That's so funny.
You related to Chuck Tanner?
Chuck?
Wasn't Chuck Tanner the former baseball?
Yes. Uh-huh.
The
Chuck Tanner, he was the manager of the Pirates.
The Pirates, who won a bunch of World Series.
He's from Newcastle.
We didn't win a bunch of World Series.
To be fair,
did he win two?
I've only been a Tanner for about 4 years.
He won one with Florida too.
5 years, 4
Like
years.
Florida Mariners.
No, that was
You're thinking of
Jim Leland.
Yeah, you're thinking of Jim Leland.
Oh,
Chuck Tanner was the 70s.
He won 79. Did he also win 71? Was he the skipper then?
No.
I think it was Murtaugh in 71, wasn't it?
Oh, all right. Well, never mind. More sports that Eric has no idea what we're talking about.
How about Quidditch? Could we discuss Quidditch? Would that count?
That'd be much more interesting.
I played Quidditch before. It's pretty fun.
Speaking of sports,
a typical Eric segue.
No. I heard that. Now I'm gonna remember. Oh wait.
Good on you.
What's the show where the robots fight each other?
BattleBots?
BattleBots is coming back for another season.
Whoa.
So there you go. There's my sports. There's my.
All right. Well, there you go.
I wish they would simplify. I like the show, but they spend way too much time on the announcers and and just do a quick 5-second introduction, show the fight. I don't need all this pomp and circumstance.
I want the backstory to know why it's so
Well, I'm
important.
fine with a little backstory, but I don't need the guy going, and in the red corner, we have...
Oh yeah.
The intros are the best. Farouk is the best.
Oh, the intros are awful. It's not as bad as when Carmen Electra was on the show. That was cringeworthy.
Oh, yes, but come on.
Carmen Electra, I think she could barely spell robot, and they had her interviewing these people.
It'll leave you scars. It'll leave you sores. It's the latest machine from Star Wars. It's Saber.
Yeah, oh, they're awful. And they come in with their gold outfits, and it's like, they think they're trying to do they're trying to do professional wrestling, and it's just so stupid.
Those are my sports. American Ninja Warrior and BattleBots are my sports.
Good sports. Reagan, have you looked outside recently?
I imagine that it's snowing because it was whenever I got home from the bar a couple hours ago. So.
Well, enjoy that view when you look outside.
Yeah, it might snow here today.
Baby, it's cold outside.
Maybe it's on Saturday.
Here's a quick question. I was looking at Love Actually, and for some reason, Plex has a very odd.
Is that an?
Man.
It looks like
Adam might enjoy the movie if that were in it.
Wait, what are we looking at?
I'm not quite sure why they chose
For Liam Neeson.
It looks like an animated version of
Qui-Gon
Jinn. Yeah,
I 100% believe that's what it is.
That's what I thought that it was.
Huh. Yeah. So there you go.
Well, if it actually is snowing out, I got to go out and do some stuff because I got a car that I was in the middle of loading stuff into when I broke for this. So I have some stuff sitting outside.
Well, Reagan is in Edinburgh, where it always snows, even in summer. So
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah, really.
EriDan on Facebook, the film festival. Drop us a message on there if you want the link. If you're not here, we'll pester the people we know. But if you're somebody who's watching who's like, well, I'd like to watch along with you guys. You can go to the Facebook page and you can leave us a note there, and we'll
And it's a private watch party. So yes, that way we don't have to worry about copyright. We'll just stream it right off of this, but we won't. Yeah. And then if you do want merchandise, if you get your order in the next week or so, if you want to get a Christmas gift for anybody.
That's very true.
Ooh. Yeah. That's true. You said that Eric promised us new merch.
I
don't think he has time.
I did. Not in time for Christmas.
For you.
We'll have a post Christmas sale.
There you go. There you go.
And hopefully we'll also on the next show, Adam and I will share stories of the comedy show.
All right.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. So we got one more comments. There we go.
Yeah, best
Remember,
of luck,
Adam,
Dan.
it's at the movie
Knock 'em
theater,
dead.
not at the old. It's not the address for the thing. Thank you.
Break a leg.
Break a leg.
Not too late to get tickets, is it?
Oh, there's a few left. It's well over half filled, and this is the earliest we've sold that many tickets. So
Wow.
should sell out.
Pretty cool.
Should
There
be
you
pretty
go.
good.
All right. Well, we will see you all. Well, Dan, of course, Clutch Radio. Are you doing that?
We're doing Clutch. Oh no, actually we're not. Rafi has getting his booster shot at 10:30, and I said, why don't we just do the show I'll drive you to your booster shot.
Yeah,
You go in and get your shot. You come back out, and I'll drive you home. We'll call it the turbo booster shot.
Like Daniel at the dentist or whatever.
Yeah, but he's going with his wife. He said, "No, we're gonna do." I said, "Okay."
There you go.
That's what Becky and I did that on Thursday. We got our booster shots.
Well, wonderful.
So I'm all
All right. Well, stay safe. Be boosted. Safe travels.
next week.
Good stuff. We will see you next week.
All right, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye.